Perfect conditions for the first carp fishing session of the year. We'll just chuck this lot in the van and we're off. Whatto YouTube, how are you? Keeping well, I hope. Well, that's week 2 of the lockdown out of the way, done and dusted. It didn't get off to the best of starts for us because we ended up having to sort of process the bombshell that was dropped on us by the Deputy Chief Medical Officer and try and work out exactly what that meant in terms of the future. We had a long chat about how we may plan to deal with what comes next. And Denise is always the pragmatist. She just basically said, well, it'll be what it'll be. And along with the lexicon of the lockdown that we've got so used to, the social isolation, the self-isolation, social distancing, all of those sort of things. You will recall, no doubt, the government saying on a number of occasions that they are planning for the worst and hoping for the best. And I think we've sort of adopted that as our philosophy for the coming weeks, months. The hope is the one thing that we all share, and so that's how we're looking forward from here on, I think. When I came up with the idea for the opening sequence of this video, I was going to describe it as wishful thinking, but now I think hopeful thinking is the way I would describe it. Hope you enjoy it, by the way. So, what about the fishing preparations then? Well, after the reset at the beginning of the week, where we had to sort of come to terms with the new reality, I've carried on making preparations for the summer fishing, probably at a slightly slower pace, I have to say, but ever hopeful that we'll get some summer fishing in. I mean, my summer fishing is a real mixed bag. I like the chub and barbel fishing on the river. I enjoy an occasional trip chasing the perch. They're good fun. And of course there'll be some carp fishing. Now, my carp fishing is not my most successful element of my angling. Based on previous experience, there's a lot of sitting around and very little fish action. And it occurred to me that that's going to make the Angler's Diary videos a bit of a challenge, because fishing videos without any fish aren't the most interesting of things at times. So I began to think about the carp fishing and how I will reflect that in the diary. And it occurred to me that obviously the carp fishing is likely to include some overnight sessions. So long dark hours and videography don't really mix terribly well, except it also occurred to me that, and those of you that have followed the diary over the winter will know this already, I'm quite keen on my time-lapse sequences. They're a good way of expressing the passage of time, clues in the name perhaps, and also it gives you something to do while you're waiting for a fish to cooperate. So I'm quite keen on that. And then I thought, hang on, the one thing I've never done in terms of time-lapse is night lapse, astrophotography, star lapse, call it what you like. And of course that gave me the clue for something to do during this week. So at the risk of convincing our neighbours that they live next door to a lunatic, I had to take to the garden to try out and practice on the astrophotography front. Now, you wouldn't choose to try astrophotography in the garden of a house on the outskirts of Newcastle upon Tyne under normal circumstances. Things we do for our art. And frustratingly, not far north of here, up in Northumberland, we have some of the best dark sky sites in the country. However, in the current regime, it had to be the garden or nothing. Now, there are three fundamentals that you need for successful star-lapse photography, astrophotography. One, not too much light pollution, and preferably none at all. Two, a cloud-free night, clear sky. And three, being able to understand the techniques and technicalities of how to carry that out. Now, this week, I don't think I had any of those, except for one brief occasion. So I'll let you see that, and you can judge it for what it's worth, as they say. Very much a work in progress, I know, but I'll persevere, and if I crack it, then I'll include the results in a later video. So I think that's it for week 2, although I've just been dusting off the fly fishing gear, but we'll save that for another video. So in the meanwhile, keep well, stay safe, and I'll see you next week. And I'm off to YouTube now to find a tutorial on how to cut my own hair. Bye.